I am not saying that you should sacrifice learning or progress in an effort to entertain and appease. But what I am saying is that a spoonful of sugar does help the learning go down. Welcome back to Making Everyday Magic. My name is Shauna, and if you are new here, we are a homeschooling family of 4. We are in our 8th year of homeschooling, and today I wanted to come here and I wanted to talk with you about learning styles. So, are you learning with vegetables or are you learning with fruit snacks? Before we go any further, guys, please scroll down, hit the big red subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. As always, you can find me right on down in the comments or over on Instagram at Making Everyday Magic. I come here and I try to share this reminder often because it is important not only to myself to have this nice reminder, but for me to share as I am seeing things kind of out in the homeschool world, out in the homeschool groups. It is important to remember that hard doesn't equal good. So you can get to the same exact destination by, nose down, blinders on, taking the highway, taking the freeway that takes you past all of the glorious stuff along the journey that you're missing. And what I am telling you is that when you focus or feel like learning needs to be hard in an effort for it to be good, when you are forcing down your learner's throat broccoli instead of enticing them along the way, keeping it fun, keeping it light, and making them want to eat it like a learning fruit snack, everybody's lives are a lot harder when you are focusing on the wrong things. So your quality of education is not impacted. The amount of learning that they've received is not impacted by making it hard. It doesn't get you any further. It doesn't get you any more learned, I guess, for lack of a better term. It doesn't get your quality of education any better if it's hard. And honestly, it's actually 180 degrees the opposite, and it can be really hard to remember that. I know myself recently struggled. You guys know we had the recent swap in Algebra 1, and it was a very humbling reminder that hard doesn't equal good. Okay, so hard does not equal good when it comes to learning. And if anything, learning in a fun manner truly helps it be learned, be retained, and things like that. So let's talk about that today. Guys, please, as we are going through this topic today, I would absolutely love it if you could scroll down to the comments and add to the discussion that we are having. Let me know the ways in which you either have had the realization that hard didn't mean good, or that you have gone out of your way to make sure that your learning is going in like a fruit snack as opposed to a vegetable, because I would love to hear it. We all need more ideas along the way. So sharing here really does help everyone else. So please consider scrolling down and doing that. Now let's talk about this. Let's go a little bit deeper. So your kids, we are well into a school year now. So we are actually, I think this might be our 8th week of schooling, which means we've got a review coming up. But if you are going into things and you are getting a lot of pushback, if you are getting a lot of struggle, if you're having to go incredibly slow, if you're having to repeat a lot of things, if you're getting a lot of pushback, if every day is a fight, if every day is taking 7 hours to get through schoolwork, if you're having to repeat things that you know that they had a grasp on just a few days ago, I'm going to tell you that is a symptom. That is a symptom of a bigger problem. Now, what is the bigger problem? First of all, guys, you don't have to trust me on this. There is a lot of evidence that supports that fun learning that is engaging, learning that is entertaining will be retained longer. There is nothing that says if it is hard, it is a better education. There is nothing that says if your child suffers through it, they will get 10 more SAT points. Like, it is important to remember the reason that you started down this path of homeschool, why you took this journey, and in all likelihood, it was a freedom. It was a flexibility. It was a desire to best serve your learner. So we need to be looking at our symptoms, but really diagnosing what the underlying illness is. And if that illness is that we are not serving our learners best because and it's so easy. I have never had my kids in a public school system. I was in a public school system, but it is so easy to slip into that thought that longer days are better, that thought that if they're grasping it easily, it must not be good enough. That thought of pushing and pulling them along and suffering the fight when none of that is necessary. I am so guilty of this, which is why I often come here to share, because I need the constant reminders. Again, I'm a public school kid. So despite the fact I've never been a public school parent, I still slip into those same repetitions and need to be reminded that often if your kids are pushing back, if things like that are happening, you need to be looking at what is the underlying cause. And there is no shame in quitting. There is no shame in pivoting, and there is no shame in realizing that you need to take a different approach. So I did want to come here, and I've got a few ideas on how you can keep learning fun, keep it light, keep learning like a fruit snack instead of like a vegetable, because everybody's lives will be a little bit easier. I assure you that if you can do this, everyone's days are going to go more smoothly. Your entire homeschool routine is going to get like a breath of fresh air if you can incorporate just a few of the things that do keep learning fun. And I wanted to share with you what some of those things are. There are many ways to keep learning fun. So there's hands-on learning, so science experiments, and there's game-based learning, things like Night Zookeeper, which I come here and talk about often because it's fun and entertaining and makes my kids actually want to write. App-based learning, game-based learning, Some Swamp, Doodad, Mantis. There are so many ways, and increasingly more ways in this day and age, because people are so creative and inventive, that you can keep learning fun for your kids. And I'm not talking about, just a whole home full of kids. You don't always need 5 kids to get the job done. There are so many apps and digital spaces and outdoor spaces where you really can get that same breadth and quality of education, even if you have a single learner at home. Field trips and nature learnings. These are amazing ways. I physically feel better when I am outside, and I know that most people do. It is something down in our biological DNA that lets us know that we should be linked to the outside world. So keeping everybody inside for all of their learning is no fun. Creative arts. If you can do the math problem, and say you can write the math problem with pencils on paper. I've had really great luck giving my kids a giant whiteboard and multicolored dry erase markers. We're doing the same thing. We're getting the same thing done, but it's a lot more fun. You could do watercolors, you could do paint, you could do chalk in the driveway. Project-based learning, also really important. So if you can take anything and make something bigger out of it, I know that I like that. If there is any way that I can rope in building something out of cardboard, huge fan. Flexible scheduling. Remember that you are not stuck to an 8 to 3. You are not stuck to a 7 to 3. You have the ability to custom make, to tailor make your entire educational experience in your home for your learners, for your home, and for yourself. So it is really important, especially like I said, as we are deep into this new homeschool year 2024-2025, it is so important to remember that you should be tailoring your homeschool. You want to be learning with fruit snacks because it's just easier, and saving the vegetables for dinner. Okay, so do not learn with broccoli and bitter things and hard things, rutabagas and radishes. Save those for the important times like mealtime. But even though it is really important, guys, remember that your kids are learning all the time. They are not restricted to just school hours. Same thing with public school kids. Every single child, every single person everywhere is learning all the time. Your learning is not restricted to 8 to 3. It is important to remember that kids are picking up on things all the time, and there are fun ways to do all of this. So if you're teaching fractions, get them in the kitchen for some kitchen chemistry. If you are teaching biology, get them outside. If you are teaching marine science, go to an aquarium. It is really important to remember that you can make this as hard as you want to, and some people do try. They try to outdo themselves with how hard they can make it, and I have often been guilty of that. But it is so important to remember that fun is just better. I know for myself, if it's fun, I'm more likely to do absolutely anything than if it's not. And part of this is remembering your why. Your why for homeschooling is really important. Why did you choose this life? Why did you want to bring your kids home and educate them yourself? Why? And I doubt that it's because you wanted to make sure that they were having an experience that was no fun, that they would look back on with misery, instead of sharing with them, learning alongside them, getting your hands dirty, getting your feet wet. It is so important to remember these little things that we know, but sometimes need to be reminded of. And like I said, I am absolutely guilty. So please scroll down. Tell me, what are fun ways that you learn? Something that I'm looking at for next year is physics with Legos. I know. I'm excited. Physics with Legos. Like, what? Okay, that's amazing. Guys, I hope that you found any of this helpful, entertaining, or informative. If you did, please scroll down, hit the big red subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. As always, you can find me right on down in the comments or over on Instagram at Making Everyday Magic. Like I said, guys, come back here, share with me, let me know, what are you doing? What's your fun learning? Or is your aha moment when you realized that you needed to be making it a little less hard and a little more fun? Because we all need the reminders, and we're all in this together. We are all in this homeschool journey together. So come here, share with us, and let's chat it out. Bye, guys.